Ahsoka. Last episode, Sabine Wren survived being stabbed through the torso with a lightsaber. But that's all fine, I guess. It's all okay, it's not like that's anything serious, and that's where humans keep things like their spine, heart, lungs and other vital organs. Oh wait. And this show isn't doing great on making sense at all. We had this scene of Sabine on a highway in episode 1, and the highway runs out and it's just desert. So why exactly did the local government on Lothal decide to spend taxpayers' money building a highway that goes nowhere? And here's hoping that isn't going to end up being a metaphor for the show. And why did Sabine Wren survive getting stabbed with a lightsaber? It happened to Qui-Gon Jinn in the prequels, and it was an instant conversion into being a Force ghost. What are the rules for lightsabers in Star Wars now? I've got nothing. It's all a bit hard to say exactly how hot a lightsaber supposedly gets, but you're talking a minimum of something like 1500 degrees Celsius because a lightsaber will canonically melt through steel. And would you care to guess how much a human lung will appreciate being around something that's 1500 degrees Celsius hot? Water boils at 100. There's going to be superheated steam going into your chest cavity. But from where the scar is in episode 2, she's going to be down 1 kidney, 1 liver and several metres of intestine. In Star Wars, that seems to translate to a full recovery following 24 hours bed rest and a biscuit. They probably should have gone for a shallow cut because this is idiotic. And some educated guessers put the heat of a lightsaber somewhere in the region of 20 to 25,000 degrees Celsius because it's allegedly made of plasma. The surface of Earth's sun is, according to NASA, about 5,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. And have you ever watched UFC or boxing? Have you seen what happens to a person when they get punched hard in the liver? I mean, they melt into a pool of grief and agony. It's not a minor boo-boo you can kiss better, but Sabine gets her liver vaporised by a sword made of superheated plasma and she's fine by the next day. And to be frank, both the Jedi and the Sith are making increasingly little sense to me, because in the position of either, one of the first things I would be doing is trying to get hold of a personal shield from a destroyer droid from the prequels. Maybe you can argue that the Jedi have got too much honour to not want to be shot with a blaster, and they don't want to look like soldiers, but it didn't help this guy much, did it? We're told later in the episode that there aren't many Jedi left. And frankly, I'm not sodding surprised, but what's the Sith's excuse? They cheat and do anything for power in the canon of the series. Why would they not use personal shields? And also, what do we know about the lightsabers? Well, an electro staff can block them. We've seen that happen in the series, so why not make personal armour out of whatever you made the electro staff out of? But they don't. Instead, the Sith use a cloak. Now into Cosplay Corner, and don't ask me to explain why so many people want to dress up like the Space Nasties, and frankly, Stormtroopers may as well dress like this for all the protection their armour seems to give them. Rogue One taught us that the armour won't protect them against a stick, and if they did dress like this, I would be a lot less likely to want them gone. It seems the supply of female stormtroopers was not enough, so guys were making their own images of female stormtroopers, and if you're trying to make people embrace the Empire, this would maybe have been a better route than blowing up planets. Just saying. And then there's this wrongness. For the female viewers, if there are any left, I don't know if this will do anything for you. As for me,
I don't want it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how I'd feel if a female partner wanted me to wear that Leia outfit. I've had some weird requests in my time, but that would be a new one. Ahsoka, Disney Lucasfilm's new 35-minute show that at best contains maybe 10 minutes of content. I mean, will you just look at this scene?
Contact Morgan. Tell her I believe we have located the reflex point on Cetos.
This is Game of Thrones Season 8 levels of time wasting. Now, I don't need dialogue or something to be happening all the time to keep my interest. There are times when it can be good to have some moments of silence. It's used a lot in spaghetti westerns like Fistful of Dollars to build tension before a fight scene, and in the same role in numerous Japanese samurai films. But it works there because the characters have been introduced. The protagonist and antagonist are facing each other, and it's the big showdown of the film. And seeing a stare down adds to the tension. Here they just do it to have the bad guys put a sphere on a plinth and then deliver one line.
Contact Morgan. Tell her I believe we have located the reflex point on Cetos.
And oh, they found the reflex point. Oh goody, that would maybe mean something if the show had at any point explained what any of those terms were supposed to mean. But no. Also show, could you please let Ray Stevenson do something? You kind of need to build him up as the bad guy. Ahsoka goes back to where Sabine was attacked and investigates after being told that Sabine managed to lose the sphere and all of the data after unlocking it, and Ahsoka finds one of the droids that attacked Sabine still there, presumably the one Sabine shot in the head, and she then has to fight it. She takes its head with her for analysis, which Sabine ends up doing on her hospital bed. If Sabine gets it wrong, the head will explode. David Tennant droid recommends caution and maybe moving somewhere safer. And here adds, I say go for it.
So what happens if you get the power levels wrong?
The head will explode?
Explode? Perhaps we should perform this operation somewhere else.
I say go for it.
And who is this character? Because the hero I remember would be the first one to recommend caution and thinking everything through. Ahsoka says that they have no time, they're losing the trail, and what can she mean? When she let Sabine leave with the sphere last episode, she had a video call instead of following her. After Sabine was attacked, she waited until the next morning to check out the scene. Show, what do you mean they've not got 10 minutes to go somewhere safer? And David Tennant droid is the only thing that stops them blowing themselves up. But they find out the droid came from Corellia, where evil Lady Morgan has several businesses that the New Republic has just been letting operate. They've just been freely operating and helping the Imperial remnants. Then Hera tells Sabine, you did good.
You did good.
What do you mean she did good? Maybe she means with the head. She went against instructions, took the sphere, unlocked it when it's unclear in the plot of the show if the bad guys could even do that, then lost it along with all the data, would have died if the bad guy had cared enough to finish her off. The bad guys only have a plan at all because of how titanically she effed everything up. And it's a plan that will reignite a full-on galactic civil war. What do you mean she did good? Who is this character? Hera from Rebels would be chewing her out right now. The bad guys now have all the cards, and the good guys have one lead from the head that they only got because the bad guys were sloppy and left a working droid behind. And what I'm left thinking is, where the hell is Luke Skywalker? Where are Leia and Han Solo while all of this is going on? Ahsoka knows Luke personally. They were on screen together in the Book of Boba Fett. Are you going to clue him in at all? No? Ask for help? No? Clearly it's a much better idea to take along Sabine, who's a complete effing idiot. Maybe Luke is busy with something else. Ahsoka and Hera then go to Corellia to look at Morgan's shipyard because that's where the droid head told them it had been, and the lack of oversight from the New Republic here is ridiculous. The facility still has loads of former Imperials working in the same place. This doesn't make sense at all. Did any of the people who made the show watch Andor? Because that had a whole episode that focused on how stringent the New Republic was being in trying to rehabilitate former Imperial personnel. They'd put them in special housing. They had their movement restricted. They'd given them new jobs, and each of them had a curfew. Here, former Imperials are in the same job they had during the Empire, where they were Imperial loyalists, and have been stealing hyperdrive cores the sizes of large buildings and flying them off planet without anyone noticing. Ah, but I forgot. Mando was a Jon Favreau series, whereas this is a Dave Filoni series, and from how well they're fitting together, I can only assume that these two people are not talking to each other or coordinating. The acting in the show is still fine. They had the head of the facility being played ably by a guy called Peter Jacobson, who I mostly remember as a regular on the series House. So as the good guys are looking through the facility, Hera says to Ahsoka, "Looks like connecting with Sabine paid off, and what can she mean? You haven't found anything here yet. As far as any of you know, there could be nothing to find. This could be a dead end." So Sabine unlocked the map sphere, took it against express orders from Ahsoka, lost it, got impaled. The bad guys now have everything that they wanted, and that, in Hera's mind, is connecting with Sabine having paid off. Ahsoka responds, "Until she lost the map, and no, at no point at all did it pay off. Sabine effed things up the moment she took the map against your express instructions, and you told her it wasn't safe. And that was the first thing she did. She took it somewhere not safe, so the bad guys could take it, and even unlocked it for them. And now you have none of the data. None of this has paid off, and all you have is one lead that you could have had anyway if you'd looked into Morgan's former business associations." And Hera says, "At least she's unlocked it. Like that's a good thing. The bad guys now have an unlocked map, and all of this is because Hera wants Ahsoka to take Sabine back as her apprentice. For reasons. Forget about Luke, no sausages are allowed at this taco fiesta." Hera and Ahsoka notice the massive effing hyperdrive engine leaving the planet, and the Imperials attack so the hyperdrive can get away. There's an obligatory fight, and Hera attaches a tracker to the engine, while Sabine has recovered and goes to get all of her equipment. She cuts her hair off in a long scene of nothing, and then spends time petting a loath cat. And no, that's not a euphemism.
I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic...
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.